With today's run, we have over 100 kilometers in the Nike ZoomX Invincible. I now know what this shoe is good at, what it's not so good at, and who this shoe might be best suited for. Today, we're going to answer the question, should you go out and buy this shoe? I'm going to give you my experiences, the good, the bad, the ugly, for you to make that decision yourself. Does this sound like a shoe that might be good for your shoe rotation? I want you to be aimed with all that you need because this shoe is quite expensive and I don't want you to go out and buy it and not enjoy it. Now, let's get into it. I purchased this shoe myself. All my views are completely my own. I have just over 100 kilometers in this shoe, and if you'd like to make me feel just a little bit better about spending 235 Canadian dollars on this shoe, please hit that like button. Let's get back to the video. Starting off the specs of the shoe, I didn't feel very comfortable giving them myself, so I decided to hire some extra help. This guy, he has a breadth of knowledge with shoe technology. Let's see what he has to say. Before we get started, I have to address the elephant in the room. Why am I not showing my face? And the real answer is, I'm being hunted by Nike. I used to post bad things about their shoes on the forums, and now they're hunting me to take me down. That's why I only work with independent shoe contractors, such as Brendon and all the other ones that you do out there. I work with them all. I'm the only one in the business that does the specs like this. Anyway, so Brendon sent me over the Nike ZoomX Invincible. It comes in with a stack height of 36.6 millimeters in the heel, 27.6 millimeters in the forefoot for a 9 millimeter drop for a men's size 10. In the women's size 8, they do have a little bit of a different stack height, and Brendon will leave that on the screen right here for you. In terms of the weight, the men's size 10 comes in at 314 grams. Quite a heavy shoe. It's definitely a heavy shoe. And for the women's, he's going to leave it right here as well. Now, the one spec I will tell you about is the outsole, because I find that really interesting. They're using a waffle rubber outsole here, and it's extremely grippy, but Brendon will get into those details with his experience in a little bit here. Now, I have to go because I have to make a move every couple hours because Nike sends spies after me every single day. The midsole of the ZoomX Invincible is, as the name suggests, full-length ZoomX, and it is very special. Now, there is no shoe on the market that I've ever tried that feels anything like the ZoomX Invincible. I've tried many shoes, and none of the shoes give me the same sensation that I'm getting in this shoe. What that ZoomX midsole does is provide a lot of bounce, a lot of cush, and a lot of softness. But that softness that it provides doesn't mean that you're sinking into the shoe. This shoe, when you compress that midsole foam, it bounces back very quickly. And what this does is make it so that you don't feel like you're completely sinking into the shoe and losing a lot of that energy. It's just helping you along on that next stride. And this has made it extremely nice for my easy days and my daily training runs. It is a little bit too heavy for my faster day stuff, but honestly, I didn't mind doing some strides in it. If I had to, I did. It did the job just fine. So when I'm landing in my strides, what I feel in this shoe is extremely cushiony in the heel, in the midfoot, and then in the forefoot, it definitely dampers down. But thanks to the rocker geometry of this shoe, it rolls through very smoothly. Like, honestly, I didn't really think of that rocker when I first tried the shoe in my initial impressions, but as I put more and more miles into it, it's very noticeable, honestly. I can definitely notice that it's doing something. It's making that roll through very smooth. Overall, this midsole is a little bit unstable because of how soft it is. But I will say, and I'm not sure if this is true, but the heel clip that we're going to speak about when we talk about the upper, I think that does provide a little bit of that extra little bit of stability, so I'm not completely collapsing in. When I've reviewed footage of me running in this shoe, my right ankle especially overpronates into it. And honestly, my right ankle is the ankle that I tend to overpronate with the most, but the difference with the ZoomX Invincible compared to other shoes that I overpronate in is I haven't felt any of that same fatigue that I typically get when I overpronate. There are a lot of shoes that I overpronate in that I just can't really run more than 5 miles in because I get too fatigued due to the overpronating. My muscles are trying too hard to stabilize myself. The heel clip, in addition to the wider landing platform, is making this super soft midsole foam bearable for my really weak ankles. Like, I'm overpronating, but this shoe is giving me enough support that I don't mind. With that said, this isn't a stability shoe. It still is a neutral shoe. So if you need a true stability shoe, you're gonna have to look somewhere else because this does not provide all the stability that you may need if you're someone that overpronates quite heavily. But overall, guys, this midsole, like I said, it's not like anything I've tried before, and I'm absolutely loving it for my easy runs, for my daily runs. And yes, even when I need to do some strides, this shoe can do it all, and I'm absolutely loving the midsole so far. Now, in terms of durability of the midsole, I don't know exactly how long I will get out of this shoe. Over the 100 kilometers, the bounce sensation that I get in this shoe has definitely died down a little bit, but it's still great underfoot. It feels fantastic underfoot still, and honestly maybe even better, because when I first got it, it definitely was very springy and kind of, I didn't know how to use this shoe. I didn't know if I had to go fast in it, didn't know if it was meant for easy days. It was just a little bit more confusing. But over the miles, I've realized that this is a great easy day and daily trainer, and it's so well placed for that work. Overall, the midsole has been absolutely fantastic, and I can't wait to put more and more miles into this. Yes, we're going to go well above the 100-kilometer mark in this shoe. It honestly has almost spoiled a lot of other shoes for me because, well, this is just such a fun midsole to run in. Now let's talk about the upper. The upper of the ZoomX Invincible is where we kind of take a turn for the worse. So I know that a lot of people have had issues with rubbing and blisters and all that stuff. I'm just going to say right out of the bat, I didn't have any of those issues. What I don't understand though is some design decisions that they made here. For example, through the heel cup here, you can see that they have like extra padding and all that stuff. And I don't quite understand why that's there. I guess maybe for design and looks, but honestly, I think that just adds extra weight, and it's definitely going to soak up a lot of water on rainy days. So I don't understand that. In addition to that, the material choice here, it feels like a quilt. That's the best comparison I can give. This fly knit that they're using here feels like the material of a quilt. And it is semi-breathable, but on hotter days, my feet have been getting a little bit warm. And I will say that although I didn't get blisters, I have gotten a couple of hot spots. So on the ball of my foot, after a couple of runs, I'm not sure if I just didn't get a good lockdown or what the case was, but I did feel like a little bit of hot spots and just a little bit of general discomfort. Those are the main dislikes of the upper for me, and let's talk about the positives now. So the heel cup shape here, I know that this is a weird thing to really like, but the way that they molded the heel cup is so fantastic. My heel just slides in there, and for the most part, I've been able to get a great lockdown through the heel. The tongue is another highlight for me. It's gusseted, and you know how much I love those gusseted tongues. Oh, I love a gusseted tongue. And also, another great thing about the tongue is how much padding it has. It doesn't have too much like over in the ankle collar here. I don't understand that decision. But the tongue, honestly, is perfectly padded. The laces, another highlight for me. This is another weird thing to really like, but I do really enjoy the laces. Like, they're very high quality feeling. They provide a good lockdown. They lay on my foot without really, they just lay really comfortably on my foot. Another thing that I like is that heel clip. Now, I did mention in my midsole section that I wasn't sure if it did provide a little bit more stability or what. I don't know the science. When I looked at the video footage, my foot was rolling inward, but I'm not sure if it rolled inward more if the clip wasn't there. This is something that we may need to explore after I do a bit more miles in this shoe. Maybe I'll just get rid of that clip and see what happens. The reflective elements down on the toe box are another questionable decision that I forgot to mention. Just like, I know Ed Budd took the reflective elements off of his shoe because he's a mad scientist when it comes to shoe reviews. He customizes all of his shoes for himself, and I appreciate that. In terms of width, if you have a wider foot, I don't know how great it would feel. I don't have a wide foot myself, but I do find that in the toe box, I have enough room. But in the midfoot, things kind of get a little bit more tight. But if you have a wide foot, maybe get it at a store that has a decent return policy. I did go true to size in this shoe, and it fits perfectly for me. But like I said, my foot size is relatively average. I don't have a big wide foot, not a very narrow foot, just kind of right in the middle. And the upper has worked really well for me. I know that it sounds like I'm just shilling this shoe a lot, and maybe I am. Maybe I am, but I'm just giving you my honest thoughts. Like, I'm enjoying this shoe a lot. The upper has some questionable decisions. It is not as breathable as I would like, but overall, I don't have anything too bad to say about it. I know that people have not had great experiences with it. So if you're not completely sold, or if I missed something, go and watch another review of someone else that has a bit more of a different opinion of it. I'm not having that many issues, but again, we're all different. We all have different foot shapes, different strides, all that stuff. So what works for me may not work for you, like it didn't work for Ed Bud. So go check out his video if you want some more details on the upper. So the outsole of the Nike ZoomX Invincible is this waffle outsole thing. And just between you and me, don't really know how it's a waffle of any sorts. It doesn't look tasty in the least. But I guess that's what they're going to call it. And in addition to the waffle outsole, they have like a green spot in the heel and the forefoot as well. Don't know why. Don't know what they're providing, but maybe it's for looks. I don't get it. How does it perform? That's all we really need to know. And on wet surfaces, on crusher dust, on dirt, on what else did I go on? I went on a bunch of different terrain. It handled all of them very, very well. I've had no complaints in terms of the outsole here. The full coverage, I think, is absolutely a fantastic choice because of the ZoomX. Now, this is something I didn't mention earlier. My dog attacked this shoe. She did attack it, and it destroyed one section of the ZoomX midsole. And honestly, I'd be a little bit concerned if this outsole wasn't a full coverage outsole, because I think the ZoomX midsole would just get completely torn apart. So the full coverage waffle outsole has been absolutely fantastic. The grip is fantastic. I love the coverage of it. I think it's the right choice to make in terms of using it for a ZoomX midsole. Absolutely loving it. I don't have any complaints with the outsole at all. So with those sections out of the way, who is this shoe best for, and should you buy it? This shoe is best for someone if you like a shoe that is very soft, very high stack height, and you don't mind having a shoe that feels very present on foot. That is the biggest downside of this shoe, is you know it's on your foot. You know that when you're running in this shoe, you have a shoe on your foot. A lot of shoes, they kind of just melt away and you forget about them. Not the ZoomX Invincible. You know it's there every stride you take. It's kind of like you running with big old trampolines on your foot. So if that's something you don't like, then don't buy this shoe. But if you don't mind that, if you like shoes that are very soft on your foot, if you want the most protection possible, and if you want a completely unique feel compared to other shoes, the ZoomX Invincible, I think, would be best for you. But is it worth the money? No, this shoe is very overpriced. I have to be honest, but I'm not sad that I spent the money on it. I would buy it again. Honestly, I might buy it again. I'm enjoying it that much. But if they did knock it down at 20 bucks, if they knocked 20 bucks off the price point, I think so many people will go out and buy the shoe and enjoy it so much. But at that $180 US, $235 Canadian dollar price point, I don't think that this shoe is a great value. But if you buy it, I think you will enjoy it. Overall, I'm enjoying this shoe a lot. I really tried hard to find some negative things to say about it, but there honestly aren't too many. I'm enjoying every mile I put in this shoe, and I hope to put more and more miles into this for a longer term review in the next couple of months, because this shoe has been treating me so well. Where I'm at in my training, this shoe fits perfectly. In the slower, easy miles, that's what this shoe is shining for me. And honestly, I just love it. I love this shoe so much, and I hope that if you go and try it and spend the money on it, that you will like it as much as me. What has your experience been in the ZoomX Invincible? Have you tried it and not liked it? I know there's a lot of people out there that really didn't like it, and I'd love to hear why it didn't work for you. Let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you all so much for making it to the end of the video. I will catch you on the next one.